Mr. Minnick here, helping my students with Tracing Methods Worksheet number 1. On the back of this paper, draw the design formed by the following method. I can't do that on the back of the paper, so I'm just going to sketch out a form right here that would have an x-axis that goes from 0 to 300 roughly, and a y-axis that goes from 0 to 300. First line of code draws a line from the point x equals 125 and y equals 100, approximately there, to the point 125 comma 200. So that would also be right here at the point x equals 125 down to the point y equals 200, and that would be a black line. So we have now executed that line of code. Apparently that's the torso of a stickman. Next, we're drawing a black line from 125 to 200, which happens to be this endpoint right here. And we're connecting it to the point 200, 250. That would be approximately right here at the point x equals 200. And then the point y equals 250, which would be approximately right here. And that's a leg. Next line of code that we need to trace, we're drawing a point from 125 to 200, which is this point right here, and we're connecting it to 50 to 50. 50 would be about right here, and the point y equals 250 would also be right about here. So we're connecting those 2 points with this third statement. Apparently that's another leg. And finally, we're drawing a line from 50, 150, which is about right here, and we're connecting it to the point x equals 200, y equals 150. The point x equals 200 and the point y equals 150 would be right there, and we're connecting those two dots. Those are the arms for the stickman. So up to this point in the code, tracing the method draw body, we have drawn a body of a stickman. Notice there's no head yet. The next job is to trace this line of code. Well, this line of code is a call statement. And the answer to number 3, we're supposed to put a star next to this line of code. So we've done this, number 3 is finished. There is a star next to this call statement. And what does this do? Well, the computer executes the draw body part method because this call statement tells the computer to do that. And therefore, Visual Basic executes this line of code that's inside the body of this private sub end sub, and therefore we have to draw an ellipse with the color black. Its top left corner would be the point 100, 50, which is about right here, and the width of 50 and a height of 50. So the width of 50 and the height of 50. So this square would have a black ellipse drawn inside of it. And I'm going to draw the ellipse because it's not a square head, it's a circle or an oval. And it's actually a circle because the width is exactly the same as the height. So here is, with the top left corner about right there, here is where that ellipse would be drawn because of this line of code. When the computer hits end sub, it goes back up to this private sub end sub, draw body, and this draw body part line of code, this call statement, draws a head. So I'm going to put a little comment here in my code that a head is drawn. And that's the answer then to number 2. A head is drawn by the method draw body part. A better name for that method would be draw head, but I wanted to make this worksheet kind of tricky, so I named it draw body part. Okay, number 4. What are the 2 parameters that are passed to the draw body part method? Well, when you have a call statement like this, sometimes you have numbers or variables in the parentheses. And these are called parameters, and they are being passed and plugging in for the 2 parameters that are in this line of code here, what's called the method header. So sender matches up with this sender, and E matches up with this E. In this school year, in this Visual Basic class, just ignore by val. I'm not going to be teaching you what that really means. It's kind of like the command dim when we declare variables, but I'm not really going to stress about it. So sender and E, they just have to be passed as parameters. I'm not going to explain what sender and E are. It just makes it work. And therefore, the answer to number 4, the 2 parameters that are being passed from one call statement to a method header are sender and E. And last of all here, exercise 5, I need to write some code here that would draw eyes. If this private sub end sub were used in the code window up above, we need e.graphics. Eyes are usually circular, so we'll need filled in circles. So we will need fill ellipse. And the color that's being specified is black. And because it's fill ellipse, we need brushes dot black rather than pens dot black. And the fill ellipse command needs 4 numbers. And a right parenthesis there. These 2 numbers, of course, are the top left corner. Which eye do you want to do first? Hey, let's do the left eye, which would be a little filled in circle about right there. I'm guessing that it's about 120 on the x-axis, and this point where an eye should be, it's I'd say about the point 60, maybe 70. So we'll split the difference and say it's 65. So 120, 65 would be the position of the top left corner of that eyeball's square. So a square that would go around that eyeball would have a top left edge, a top left corner of 120, 65. Now, what would the width of that little eyeball be? Well, not much. Maybe 5, maybe 3. Let's make it 3. The width would be 3, and if it's a perfect circle, which I'm happy with, a perfect circle for an eye, the height would also be 3. We need another eyeball, and that's done the same way, of course. Same color, black. And we'll have to decide carefully where the x coordinate of the top left corner of the square, where there would be a right eyeball. Well, this point right here is about, I'd say 130. Yeah, 130, and it would also be 65 if the eyes are lined up with each other. And the width would also be 3, and so would the height, so that these 2 eyeballs are roughly the same size. Not roughly, but exactly the same size. There you have it. There is the body of the draw eyes method. And now, to finish this worksheet, number 6, we need to write a call statement that calls this method draw eyes and makes it execute. Well, I left a line for you here to do that. Draw eyes And we need to pass sender and E as parameters. I'm not going to explain why, we just need to. If this call statement were not typed in here, the eyeballs would not be drawn on the screen. Just because this code is typed out in the code window doesn't mean it actually executes and does anything. So this method, drawBody, calls the method drawEyes so that these two eyes right here are actually shown on the screen. Okay, the line of code, we answered number 6 by writing on this blank line the call statement. I guess we should put a little comment over here, eyes, so that each of these lines of code here have a corresponding comment. That's it.